Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer.
Everybody, and welcome to episode 314 of the Dudes and Beer podcast. Chris Jordan, your host here, coming at you live from Austin, Texas. Yeah, live once again from Austin. Well, because, you know, Rona, that's the way the world works, everybody. So Chris is still on hiatus from the road. The world is still on hiatus from many things, but the one thing that is not on hiatus is Dudes and Beer, everybody. Make sure to stop on by the website. We have all kinds of fun stuff for you there. Dudesandbeer.com is where you want to go. That is the website. Make sure to stop on by dudesandbeer.com/app to download your groovy Dudes and Beer app right now for Android. Don't worry, Orchard sufferers out there. We will get an Xcode copy out soon for all you guys that are so desperate to have Dudes and Beer partying in your pocket all the time. Stop on by. We have great stuff there. We will soon have a swag shop up where you can buy t-shirts, shot glasses, pints, all kinds of stuff. We also, of course, have the fantastic Dudes and Beer store where you can go and buy all the books from guests, things like that. Our guest tonight, I cannot wait to get involved with them. It's going to be so fantastic. The Male Breast Cancer Coalition, folks, is who our guest is tonight, and we are going to be getting deep. Feel trigger warning. On occasion, we give trigger warnings on Dudes and Beer whenever we think that, like, you know, the content may be something that riles up folks and their families, something like that. But this is a feel trigger warning tonight, guys. This may be one that kind of tugs some heartstrings. It's definitely one that you might want to bring the family in to listen to, especially if you have a stubborn father, stubborn uncle, stubborn brother or son. Bring the family into the room. Find a way from Bret and Ron tonight. Bret Miller, founder of Male Breast Cancer Coalition in Kansas City, as well as Ron Rapaport, host of It's a Wrap with Ron on Podbean, who is a breast cancer survivor as well as member of the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. We will be talking to them tonight about the scourge that is male breast cancer, why it is that you do not hear so much about it, why it is that your host himself just scheduled an ultrasound. We will be getting into that and so much more right after all this good stuff. Yeah, that's right, folks. It's time for the Dudes and Beer News of the Week. Let's stop on by the Dudes and Beer page real quick, or group on Facebook. Stop on by, open group. We, of course, had a major mass shooting yesterday. Here is what we know about the Boulder mass shooter coming to you from CNN.com. Quite a few articles about that. The Sesame Workshop just brought two new puppets to the show. For the first time, black son and father. So it's going to be fantastic to see how those relationships grow. The relationship of father and son. There's never really been a father and son puppet team in workshop history, Sesame Workshop history. So I'm excited about that as a father of a young kid that watches Sesame Street. And somebody who's watched Sesame Street my whole life. It is official. Bill Gates is ready to spray tons of chalk in the stratosphere, folks. We'll see what happens with that. For all you, as I said in my post, for all of you folks out there that have been weather modification deniers for years, okay, I guess we can't do it. Bill Gates just spends millions on nothing. He just vapidly wastes millions, you know. If you haven't seen the Washington Post expose about the gentleman who started up the Instagram about preachers and their $5,000 sneakers, go check it out. And of course, to wrap it up from Yahoo News, upcoming UFO report. That is of course, whenever the Trump administration passed their last round of COVID relief, attached to that was the fact that, hey, Department of Defense, if you have more reports out there, more FOIA requests that have not been let out, We need a full accounting of everything regarding unidentified flying objects as well as unmanned area or unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. So interesting. We'll see what comes about of that. We're getting ready to have Mike Turber on to come on and talk about all that. We have been furiously texting back and forth the last couple days because the realm of soft disclosure coming out is wild, folks. Wild, wild stuff. So when we come back from this message from our sponsor, Podcast Cadet, we will be talking with Bret Miller, founder of the Kansas City branch of Male Breast Cancer Coalition, as well as Ron Rapaport, right after this.
Have you considered starting a podcast? Looking for a way to make your business a voice of authority in an industry? Then Podcast Cadet is the solution for you. Whether starting a podcast for yourself, your brand, business, school, church, or just plain fun, Podcast Cadet is here to help you navigate the waters of the podcast industry. Specializing in one-on-one consultation and training with industry professionals in fields ranging from podcast technology and editing to distribution, monetization, and even social media strategies. Podcast Cadet tailors their services to the specific needs of you and your podcast. Do you already have a podcast and trying to find ways to engage and grow your audience? Sign up for your Podcast Cadet audit today and let us help you explore new and exciting ways to leverage your content and elevate your podcast brand to whole new levels. From consultational workshops to affordable podcast production and maintenance packages, Podcast Cadet is your one-stop shop for everything podcast related on the internet. Visit podcastcadet.com today to sign up for your consultation or training and use code DUDES20 to save 20% off your entire purchase. That website again is podcastcadet.com.
The hardest part was telling everybody, but to let people know that it can't happen, that's my main reason for speaking out. It's embarrassing being a male being told you have breast cancer, because I felt like there's nothing manly about it. My name is Bret Miller. I'm 26, and I've been a breast cancer survivor for just about 2 years. The death rate in males is 3-4 times that of females. We ignore a lot of signs that could give it away. And so by the time that we do go to the doctors, it's too late. I mean, the cancer's spread to other organs, and the doctor has to give you the horrible news that there's nothing we can do. I found out cancer of any sort is too hard to go through alone. You need the support system of family and friends.
We knew we had to rally Team Miller to get behind Bret, which no questions asked, because we all just love him dearly. He's one of those kids that keep the family together.
All of our survivors, I'd like you all to stand up for survivors. Every survivor here is having another birthday this year.
I'm building awareness one boob at a time with the help of the National Consortium of Breast Centers. We did start a foundation, and we made videos for males and females how to correctly check yourself for your monthly breast self-exam. You can see them all on breastselfexams.org.
What Bret has done in 2 years' time to move on, I see the courage that's brought out in him. He has grown so much, and amazes me the way he talks about it.
If you can battle through cancer and make it through it, you've got your battle scars to show them.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Bret Miller, founder of the Kansas City chapter of Male Breast Cancer Coalition, as well as Ron Rapaport, both survivors, heroes. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show. How are y'all this evening? I am so excited to have you guys on tonight. This is, as I told y'all in the pre-show, this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. It is something that my family has dealt with. I lost my cousin, who was very much like a sister to me. very close in age, very, very close to breast cancer that could have been diagnosed had the doctor just listened. Had the doctor actually been able to do anything is what's horrible, because like they're locked into these age ranges where if you're not in this age range, we're not going to test you for stuff. And it's horrifying. And to know, we'll get into your story here in just a minute, Bret. To know how you came to find out and how long you suffered after reading all of y'all's stuff and preparing for this episode. As I told y'all before the show, and I will tell my audience right now, your host went out and got himself scheduled for a breast ultrasound, because shortly before COVID started, I had a little bit of tenderness behind my left breast, which has eventually gotten itself to the point that it's almost like I was shot by a BB many years ago, and it just never really went away. And yeah, that could be who knows what of 100 things, but the one thing I don't want is for it to be like it was with my cousin, where when I find something out, it might be too late. Like you said in that beautiful, moving opening segment, Bret. So thank you both, gentlemen, for taking your time to come on tonight. Thank you so much for the heroes that you are, just for going through this with yourself and your families and continuing to go through it with other families. Bret, I guess let's start off with you. If you can, just in a nutshell, share your story of how you came to find out about your breast cancer and treatment, things like that. Wow. Sure. Oh, sure. Now, at this point, had you been experiencing any symptoms, any extreme lethargy, illness, anything like that, that would typically like prompt you to go like, "Hey, man, something's really, really wrong." Exactly. Mm. Sure, or an infected pore, or yeah. Wow, wow. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Br- Brother, I cannot tell you how many cancer marches, cancer walks, cancer events that I have, like Susan G. Komen events that I have been paid to work. Never once has the topic of male breast cancer come up. Ever once. And this is from somebody who, like, almost every single female member of my family has either had a scare or had. So, like, it blows my mind. And after I started talking with Ron and we started going back and forth, like I said, I do my proper Google stalking on my guests. You know, like, if you got a book, I'm buying the book and I'm reading at least half of it before I have you on the show. You know, like, I try and do it. And man, when I started seeing some of the numbers about male breast cancer, and especially the survivability rates versus the actual number of people that get it, it was like, wow, that is staggering, and there is zero outcry about this. Hmm. Yeah. Like, as though I just popped up on screen, men have breasts too. As though you did not have breasts. It's not like, hey, this is a female breast cancer group. Like, breast cancer knows no sex, people. It's pretty indiscriminate. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. 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 Well, and it's interesting because even this is not, believe me, people, and for both of you guys, this is not a lambasting of Susan G. Komen Foundation, folks. That's not what I'm about to do. But what I'm about to say may be revelatory for some people and may actually blow your mind that none of that money goes toward cancer treatment. It all goes toward awareness. And once again, why are the men not being highlighted in that? Why is that? Why is that not a topic of conversation? Why is it like it? It just blows my mind when you're trying to raise, and even the fact that yes, you can raise awareness, but are we raising awareness toward testing, self-testing? You know, because until I like even I don't even know that most women that I know how to properly self-test. Um, yeah, yeah, and I mean, on honest question, uh, before your finding out, Bret, did your mother know how to self-test? Okay, sure. And Ron, what about your wife? Yeah. Sure. Sure. Well, and that is a beautiful, fantastic thing. And like I said, like even the preparation of this, I already had a doctor's. I'll embarrassingly give my secret. Some listeners know I'm a gout sufferer. I have a 17th century ailment because of all of my Hassenpfeffer and mulled wine and my rich, opulent lifestyle. But that is what actively caused me to call the doctor last week and schedule my appointment for this week. And through doing my research and watching y'all's videos about self-treatment, things like that, like I was like, I'm doing it. There is no question. When I am in front of a doctor, because for the last year I haven't been able to like physically get in front of a doctor. It's hard right now, you know. Unless you got something major, you aren't going to see your general practitioner because your toes acting up, you know. It just doesn't look straight, Doc. I don't know what's going on. You're probably not going to get in the office. So, yeah, for me, it was a very open situation, and it was like I will absolutely do this because it's important. Now, Ron, if you can for just a minute, share your story of discovery and how you came to be involved with the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. Oh, wow. Good for her. That kind of sounds like Austin. get the special treatment. Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, number one, whenever if you're a cancer sufferer to begin with, you're in a minority. Much less if you're a male breast cancer sufferer. Because breast cancer is already yeah, you're literally within like a 1 percentile, 2 percentile range. Um, and the beautiful thing, the good thing about that is that you're also amongst 1% of the survivors. That means that your survival is also more rarefied. And that's what I think is beautiful about you guys and what y'all are doing together. The community that you guys have built over at the Male Breast Cancers Coalition, Bret, is fantastic. The things that y'all are doing with survivors, the things that y'all are doing with families and communities are so awesome. Um, oh yeah, how did you get involved? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And that's exactly what I said in my email to you back and forth is this is typically a quote public snickering situation. Whenever you mention the concept of male breast cancer, people are like, yeah, okay, dude. Um, yeah. Well, and that's just it. Like to have somebody, and granted, not like I don't think like a purposeful point and laugh kind of situation, but really more like a knee jerk, like really, kind of situation. But at the same time, like if somebody looked at you and said, "Yeah, it's chemo," I got leukemia. Would you snicker? You know. Yeah. 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 Yeah, like you are an ass. Um, and I mean, that's pardon the language. That's just really messed up, and it's a messed up mentality to have. And even the fact that, and to hop back in the Wayback Machine to a few minutes ago, Brett. 7 years between when a patient goes, "Hey doc, what's going on with this?" And granted, like the doctor said, like you said, you were 17. Like, good Lord, my cousin was 28 years old. You know, how often are you going to find stage 4 breast cancer, hyper aggressive breast cancer in a 28-year-old woman? The probably about as often as you might find male breast cancer. However, when a patient says, "Hey doc, can we check this out?" Maybe go through it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. 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 Let's just cross it off the list because we know what it's not going to be, right? In theory, that's what she was hoping to say, you know? Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. 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 Well, and I mean, quite honestly, I love my mother as well, but if that situation happened, and she got that phone call, it would be nothing but panic until the moment that we were together and actually talked about things, you know? Like, so good on you to be like, yeah, let's hold off on that for a minute. Um, yeah, she could probably hear him. Oh, wow. Mamas know. Mamas know. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's making a mastectomy seem like he's going in and treating your ACL, dude. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's right. That's right. And not only that, but the pre surgery, post surgery questions, things like that, were like you are literally uh, you're still under medication, and they're coming in giving you instructions. You know. So yeah. Mm. Wow. That's great. Well, amen. Amen. And good for both of you guys, and good for you, Bret, because exactly what that doctor said. You cannot be afraid. And even today, whenever I told my wife, because I like I said, I was going to the doctor today for gout. And I told my wife last night before we left that, hey, just so you know, whenever I go to the doctor tomorrow, I'm going to be talking to them about a BB-sized lump in my left breast. I was like, I don't want you to be panicked. I don't want you to be scared. I just want you to be informed. I want you to know that this is something that is going on with me. And whenever I got out, she was like, are you afraid? Are you scared? I was like, no, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm scared, mainly because, like, hey, if God decides to do something, who am I to say no? But am I afraid of the unknown? Yes. The difference is now I have gone to the doctor and we will have a known. You know, like we'll have a course of treatment. We'll have a plan. If it was something that I went into the doctor one day and they came in and said, hey, Chris, I know we drew some blood to test you for gout, buddy, but man, like you're at stage 3 right now. That's scary because that's the unknown. Me taking this bull by the horns and owning it and saying, hey, you, come here. Let's go handle this. That's a different story. You know? Yeah. Yeah. And that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, you're not like me where every woman either had it or had a scare. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and really, you know, even to go further into the male health issue, it's the fact of you hear things all the time. Like I'm 45 myself. Bret, how old are you? Okay, so yeah, 10 years younger. Ron, you seem like you maybe got about 3-4 years on me at least. So go ahead, Ron. Yeah. Healthy guy. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's just it. Like it can be scary, and this is a real moment here, guys, because much like whenever we had Madeline Zek Ruiz on, whose husband, I mean, to be straight, it was how can I marry a doctor? Like he's a penis doctor. That's what he does. You know, and she was like, she lives down in Brownsville or McAllen rather, very small border town, Texas, where like. You know people, you know, when you're walking through the H-E-B grocery store, like you see Susie from down the street who's a patient of your husband, you know, that kind of stuff. And she was like, people started coming up and telling me the most intimate things about their bodies and what was going on. Like, do you think your husband can help? And he's like, I don't know. He's the doctor. Call him. She was like, but they came to me as a point of trust because I was the doctor's wife, you know? And she was like, I don't know why these people that were patients of my husband, who was their urologist, were more comfortable talking to me than to the doctor. And that's something that, like, we as men, we as women, everybody need to get used to doing that to begin with. We need to be used to being able to talk to our husband or spouse or mom or dad about it and being open and honest about it, you know? Because it is so important, especially once you reach that age of 25 beyond. Things start going different in your body. But man, what are you guys doing right now as far as, because of course COVID has impacted all kinds of things. I mean, community events are starting back up, things like that. But what are y'all normally doing as far as community action, community activity? Sure. Nope. Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah. Well, and I mean, even right here on screen as I scroll through y'all's stuff, right there from Fox 25, like, you can see the confusion that most people get into right there. Like, even within their own headline, they're used to saying, like, get pink for all the breast cancer stuff. You know, so like even the people that the news association are giving a mixed headline, like, yeah, talking all about male breast cancer and really about the women's breast cancer in the front end. Uh, it's like, what? So to know that you guys are out there being able to go on local news, being able to march in parades, and like, there's a fantastic shot of many of the guys in the group. But even let's talk a little bit about the car here that you sent me pictures of, Ron. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yep. Yep. It- yeah. That. Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah. Sure. Wow. Wow. That's what it's about, man. That's great. Yeah. Hey, well, and that's just it. He saw a car with it and went, well, I guess maybe they won't think I'm crazy, you know? And Bret, let's go back for a second real quick. And when it comes to self-checking, because I know we only have a few minutes left with you guys, and I don't want to keep y'all past an hour. You're, like I said before the show, I want to feature you guys at least a couple times a year and have you on the show, because the what you guys are doing is absolutely so important, so important for people to know about. For people to know about self-care, self-checking, that kind of stuff, especially as men, because it's something that we are just not told to do. Period. There has been quite an outcry over probably the last decade about prostate cancer. And check yourself, colon cancer, check yourself, but not about breast cancer. And to go back, let's talk a second real quick, Bret, about self exams. What signs should people be looking for? Like you said, until you got it, you didn't know the signs. You didn't know what to be looking for, even as a young man, because I knew people that, and one of the reasons why these doctors maybe didn't worry up around, like we were saying before the show, at the age of 17, is gynecomastia. That is something that exhibits itself right up around that age, where the hormones are starting to switch in a male. And just so you guys know, it may be a little bit embarrassing. There may be some of you out there that have suffered it. I know people that have suffered it. And it's basically the fact that as your hormones change, your breasts grow a little bit, things like that. So that may have been one reason also that the doctors were like, hey, this is kind of a normal thing right now, but when it became unnormal 7 years later, and when you finally found out, what could you have done differently? What signs could you have seen ahead of time now that you know them? What should people be looking for? What should that, not 17-year-old, because this is typically marked for 18 and up. But what can that 18-year-old, man, what can that early college student, because honestly, you know it and I know it, Bret, how many college kids, like count them on both of your beer drinking hands, how many college buddies that you know that were all about going to the doctor and talking to him? None. Like, I'd have dropped my beer pretty quick. Yeah. 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 Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, and we were playing that earlier, and it is so fantastic to go through that. Like I said, until I started doing my due diligence for this show, I don't think I was doing my due diligence health wise. And it's just because I felt that there, and it was tender, it was all right, didn't really bother me that much. But it doesn't have to bother you that much for it to be something serious. So I would rather, like I said, wrangle it by the horns and find out now, find out early if it's something, find out it's nothing, and have a sigh of relief and a nice l'chaim to health. That's how I look at it. But to know that there are guys like you out there, Bret and Ron, that have gone through this, that if it is something that myself or a brother of mine, a friend of mine, a family member of mine is going through, man, I know where to send them now. You know, like I know of so many other cancer survivor groups, but I do not know, until this, did not know of one for male breast cancer. So the fact that you guys are out there advocating this, putting it in front of people, putting it into the media, putting it into the spotlight, good for you guys, man, and good for you, Bret, for getting this together and moving it to the front lines. It is so important. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Bret, before, go ahead, Ron. Oh, wow. Y'all, yeah. Well, and to know that you have made the headway that you have made, especially media-wise, things like that, just for the time that you've been around, is fantastic. Because I know I being involved in ministry as long as I was, things like that. I knew a lot of people that started foundations, 501c3s, things like that. A 10-year foundation plan is typically what you're looking at for something like that, regardless. You know, so the fact that you guys have made the headway that you have and gotten the attention that you have already, kudos to you guys, because it is a noise that needs to be made like flares in the night. These signals need to go up in the air for guys, and for women. If you love your men, smack them in the back of the head, man. Seriously. Like, make them go to the doctor. What? Yeah, yeah. Hey, if it's a team building exercise to examine each other once a month, by God, make it a part of your like relationship team building to like cross-examine once a month if need be. But you know, like my wife and I have had that talk. Because she has cancer in her family, things like that. So we've definitely had the talk of, you know, let me know. And it's so important to be open and ready to talk about it. And the fact that you guys are so open and ready to talk about and share your stories, to share your experience of triumph and conquering over this, and especially you, Bret, at the young age that you were when you first suspected, and at the extremely young age that you were when you were diagnosed and had things done, to make this your all-consuming passion in life is a beautiful thing, man. Don't ever give it up. Well, and it's just great that it has become, like you said, a family endeavor, not just with your mom, but in the community as a whole. That it is a family endeavor. That's a beautiful way to put it and a beautiful way to keep it. So, before we let you guys go, Ron, I guess I will give you the opportunity first, and then we will close out with Bret. It is time for utterly shameless self-promotion, as we put it here on the show. So, Ron, tell everybody where they can go to listen to It's a Wrap with Rap, everything else. And then we'll come back to Bret and talk about upcoming events, where people can go, where they can go to download self-exam stuff, everything else. Sure. Yes. And absolutely. Absolutely. Well, like I said, I want to have y'all on again and again and again because this is a cause. There are a few causes that Dudes and Beer have, like, yep, and these are the causes that you're joining, gentlemen. Human trafficking. We take a huge stance against and regularly have guests on about human organ trafficking and male breast cancer. As well as female genital mutilation. Those are our four big, huge, like crazy hot topics that we love talking about because they are important. They're uncomfortable conversations, but they are important conversations in our world and to our families. And in response to what you said a minute ago, Ron, just the fact of even as a man to know your, like you said, your family history, not just for male breast cancer reasons, folks, but if you happen to have a female child, to know that cancer history in your family is invaluable information. It is like a 70% starting point for any doctor. So definitely know that family history. Definitely know what those signs are as things move forward. Bret, please do let everybody know where they can go to get involved with the Male Breast Cancer Coalition, what they can do to help out, what they can do to self-check, where they can go to get that kind of information, and what your next events are. Yeah. Absolutely, Bret. Thank you so much. Ron, thank you so much for coming on the show this evening, guys, for talking about this totally uncomfortable topic for some people, but such an important one. Like I said, I myself am 45. My almost 4-year-old son is asleep in the room next to me right now, and that's all I think about. That's all I think about. I think about nothing less. So for me to not go have something looked at out of a point of pride is literally that. That is a point of pride, not a point of caring about my family. So thank you guys so much. Please do hold the lines while we close things out. I'll talk with y'all off air. Thank y'all so much once again for coming on. Please do hold on while we close everything out. While you are online, everybody, checking out all the fantastic work of the Male Breast Cancer Coalition, Bret Miller and Ron Rapaport. make sure to stop on by the Dudes and Beer website. Dudesandbeer.com is where you can get everything. That's where you can get the new app, dudesandbeer.com/app. You can also stop on by, check out the Dudes and Beer store. Tons of books there by our guests, all kinds of stuff. I am currently waiting for my crystal skull to come for me from crystalskullexplorers.com. Thank you for that, Joshua Shapiro. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Remember, if you can't be good, be good at it.
Thanks for listening to this
Bye-bye.
episode of the Dudes and Beer podcast. To listen to our audio streams or chat with us live, download the official Dudes and Beer app for Android and iDevices, available on Google Play and iTunes markets.
iDevices coming soon.
For more episodes, content, and information, visit us online at dudesandbeer.com. You can also find our episodes on Breach.tv, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast service. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the HC Universal Network family of podcasts. For more about our sponsors and other podcasts on this network, visit hcuniversalnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.